Hello and welcome back to our show. We are here at the High Vibe Podcast Network headquarters, and we're talking inside the network, behind the microphone, and beyond the story. Today, I'm joined by one of our founding podcasts on the network, host, Jennifer Nagel. Jennifer, welcome. Jennifer's show is called Magic in the Muck, A Soul's Compass for Change. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Jennifer in a moment. But first, I just want to say hi, Jennifer. How are you doing?
Hi, Michelle. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm good. Thank you for having me here.
Well, great. I am so glad you are here, too. We, at the current time of recording this, we're just a few episodes in to having launched the network with your show on it. And I'm so honored to be joined by Jennifer today. She's an international facilitator, a therapist, and a best-selling author whose work helps people navigate the life's messiest and most transformative moments. In fact, I have Jennifer's book, and I usually have it like right here with me. I would show it to you. It's just out of reach right now, but I usually have it here showing that, oh, I have Jennifer's book right here. I bet you have one, don't you? Oh, here, I do have it.
On my shelf right here.
Look, I do have it.
That is.
Here it is. Awesome. Magic in the Muck. Which is her podcast also is called Magic in the Muck, A Soul's Compass for Change. So a powerful podcast that guides us through grief, uncertainty, and awakening grounded wisdom and soulful presence. So Jennifer's show has been called a sanctuary for anyone moving through a challenge or change, weaving together psychology, spirituality, body-based wisdom, and it reveals the hidden magic that exists inside the muck of life. Oh my gosh, don't we all have a lot of muck right now?
We do.
So, we love Jennifer's honest storytelling and illuminating conversations. And in fact, I was just telling Jennifer that I was listening to a show with her and Monique McDonald, and just it's all about your voice and your frequency and like how amazing you guys' conversation together was. And as I was listening, I was like, wow, the show is really good. There's so many shows where people speak and they're like, and you kind of like, your brain like, starts drifting onto other things. But the way you guys were engaged with each other, I was so into it the whole time, which is so powerful. And it created a visceral response in me. And that is the power of podcasting, isn't it?
It really is. It's so... I can't even put words to it because it really transcends just the connections that are made. But then when the presence is right there in real time, in the moment, it's not about, I'm doing an interview, here's my question, and here's your answer. It's really, we're really co-creating together and making that connection. And when that comes through the airwaves, that's such a gift too.
Absolutely. Because it felt like on the other side of that was like, oh, wow, like, I feel like I'm learning something and I feel like I'm a part of your conversation, but a little fly in the wall. And that's always like my hope for podcasts was like, it's like you're involved in the intimate conversation with two people having tea over the table and you're there listening in, but so it was so well done. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And your podcast has been great and great review. So tell us how it's been. Tell us about your show from your perspective. What are your hopes with it?
Oh my goodness. Even coming up with this, it's been something that's been stirring for a long time. And then, so now that it's actually getting out there, I really have a desire to just to reach more people around the message of connecting with the essence of who we are and our soul's wisdom, and using our own gifts and resources to navigate through what's pretty chaotic in the world. And I think people get caught up in the stress and the overwhelm and the burnout. And I really wanted to put a show out there to inspire. And what's interesting, Michelle, is when I go back and I listen to my own episodes, it's almost like I'm doing this show for me. I need to hear this stuff. And so I think the gift, it's multifold. It is for we're all connected, right? So we're all connected. So I am connecting with myself as I'm connecting with whoever my guests are or whoever my audience is in the solo episodes. I'm really talking. I'm not just talking to my wall over there. I'm really imagining the people listening.
Yeah, and you're so engaging too. It's not like you're talking at us either. Like you are engaging us, even if we're not having a two-way conversation. It feels like it, even when we're listening to your solo episodes. So that's amazing. It's amazing, and it's been really fun to hear some of the feedback you've been getting from clients and family about the show. And when you start sharing things that you can't share in a session as a therapist about yourself, like how cool is that? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's really cool. Like even just the other day, I had a client who I've been seeing for a while, and she said, "I never knew you had MS." Like that just hasn't been part of it. Oh, there's no reason for me to bring it up, and I don't go out saying I have MS. And so she listened to one of my first episodes and just heard my navigating through that, and so then becomes part of the process. How is that for you to know that now, or what shifts for you as you hear that, and so it's really, I love how like this podcast, it really is evolving in real time, right? And so even someone listens to an episode long after I've recorded it, but then it's fresh for them. So then they bring that, whatever they're doing with that.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
What a cool way also too with your clients that you're already serving in your practice to have this enriched experience with the podcast as beyond the session. It's almost like beyond the session. Here's some more of Jennifer between sessions, and wow, as a business owner, how great is that your clients are taken care of with some other information and other things that they can do while you're also between sessions.
Yeah, it's another resource. And I even refer to specific episodes and give it to them for homework to listen to this episode, this interview with Monique around, connecting with your voice. And then we can use that in session, and we do some work on embodying the soul's voice. So that's kind of an added, I hadn't even anticipated that would be happening from this podcast.
That's awesome. Well, I really love that. I would love to know what was your birthing process? Well, I know because I was there for a little bit of it, but the idea you had behind this show when you set out to create it, what's your hope for people listening as the listeners?
Yeah. I think when I set out to create it, the whole thing around magic in the muck, that has been just such a theme in my writing and in how I work with people and in my outlook on the whole, just even my values. And it is around how do we find the miracles that are everywhere, all around us, in the midst of some pretty horrific things. So helping people through trauma, it's but the resources for them to survive. And so that was part of the process of the birthing of this podcast, was around, I also want to collect stories of people who have been through the muck and transcended the muck and come through and are performing and are doing miraculous things in the world. So that was part of the process, wanting to inspire, and then at the same time also inspire people to look inwards to themselves and help and take them through a process where they really are intentional about having gratitude and finding their wisdom and their strength and finding their own magic in the muck.
Yeah. And, one of the episodes I was listening to, you were talking about how, people are out there looking for that thing and they're in programs and with different coaches or things. And it's it comes all back to if you just turn inwards, you will find what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And in such an amplified way that, oh my gosh, I didn't need to look externally for all those answers. It was right here all along.
Yeah. And when we go internal, it almost that becomes the beacon that also attracts in what you need to bring into your life for healing too. So it's from within, and then that seems to bring and surround you with the right people or the right places or the right environment that you need, the conditions to.
Yeah. It's funny. It always reminds me of when I was pregnant. When you're pregnant, you're walking around and all of a sudden you see all these pregnant people everywhere. And it's oh my God, there's so many pregnant people in this world. And then when you're not pregnant, you don't see any pregnant people. And it's just always such a good reminder of that lens that you're always looking through. And it's yeah, if I'm having a rough day, I bet I'm finding a lot of things that are also rough out there, right? But if I'm inwards and finding the gold and finding the magic in the muck, then that magic is more prevalent, and it's more in my lens that I'm looking through the world through. And
Exactly.
pregnancy one just always reminds me of that, to just bring it back to that. Remember the pregnancy, all these pregnant people everywhere. Well, we see all these magical miracles and gratitude for everything. Then that's what we're going to see out there, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so fun. I love the self-discovery, and just it's so nice to have your voice too as like a guide for people. I'm sure outside of sessions, but also some surprising people listening to your podcast, right?
Yeah. And I don't even know. I don't. Yeah. People who I didn't even realize knew I had a podcast, or, Jennifer, I've been listening to you, or I spent my morning with you while I was cleaning the house. I listened to all your episodes, and like, oh, wow. It's new for me to have that kind of feedback as well.
That's awesome. One of my friends, or one of our fellow podcasters, she was at a restaurant that she frequents, and the waiter came up to her and said that she was listening to her podcast.
Really?
Like, wow, that's so weird, because as podcasters, we don't know sometimes. So if you're listening to this guy, give us some love. Tell Jennifer, go leave a review on her show, because we don't know. It's like talking to the air sometimes.
It's true.
Unless they listen, we don't know.
Yeah.
You're loving it. So it's a really important piece for us to get some feedback. So it's nice to hear when, especially people you don't think even were paying attention to you launching a podcast, all of a sudden are listeners and are loving what you're putting out there, which is cool.
Yeah.
What is your hope for your listeners?
My hope is that, my hope is that the listeners will be inspired, that they will, and reach out, not necessarily like just to be in community with one another, because that's the other thing I really I was going to believe, but it's not even a believing, it's a knowing. I know that healing happens in community. So, when we're navigating through tough times, it can sometimes be easy to go inwards and just, I have a tendency to do that myself. I go inwards and I cocoon, and there's a place for that. And to be able to connect and reach outwards. So my hope is that listeners will also use this podcast as also a jumping off point to really be authentic with each other, to be authentic in their reaching out and communicating with each other and healing together.
Yeah. Together is better, right?
It is.
Always more fun. But yeah, I can see there's times for being alone, and there's times for community. And I've witnessed so many community circles where the healing doesn't necessarily happen in when it's your turn in the session or in the circle or wherever you are. It's like when someone else's turn, and then you get the byproduct of their experience, and it's like, oh my gosh, that one thing transformed me, where I never would have done that sitting alone in my commute. So yeah, community is so important, especially when we're so disconnected these days through technology and through just how busy we all are in our world. I mean, sometimes we live in the same house as people and hardly see them throughout the day. So it's nice to bring back that connection.
It really is. Yeah. And so another evolving of this podcast is also evolving into the Soul Compass community, which, I'm working on building and creating and co-creating, and that all. So there'll be an online community where people who want to dive deep and have that authentic connecting can do that. I mean, it hasn't come into fruition yet, but it's in the planning stages. And then also the Soul Compass retreats that Julianne and I are co-creating together, and creating opportunities to really hit the pause and the reset button to really come and do some deep dive so for those who are ready to do that kind of a journey. But yeah, just wanting to create opportunities for people to do their personal work, their work in connection with community, and just bring more love and acceptance into the world. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we were in Costa Rica at the High Vibe Leaders Retreat in June, and it was so cool to see you guys co-creating together on retreat to create a retreat for your listeners. And it's two of our podcasters are co-creating retreats. And I know you guys had started doing those before, but it kind of took a different turn with these new podcasts that you're both launching. And it's really cool to see. I love the collaboration piece that's come through. And again, the community, right? Community,
exactly.
everything. We could be surrounded by amazing people that are, also uplifting others. We are so lucky to be in a community with just such great people that we want to do business together and we want to go on retreats together.
And we want to go away and travel together and do retreats together. And yeah.
You and I have been at least in 3 different countries together.
We have. And you know what's funny? You and I have yet to connect here in British Columbia.
That's true. In our own town. We've gone across the world, Costa Rica and Mexico, but we have not met in Vancouver.
True.
How funny is that? Well, we'll have to make a date for that for sure.
Yeah, I would love that. That would be great.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your podcast going forward. So where do you see, what kind of guests are you've got lined up? Now you're only, I think, a couple of episodes in now, like 3 or 4 episodes in.
7
episodes already.
Episode 7 dropped today, actually.
7 episodes. I was going to say that, and then I was like, no, that's too many. I think we just started. So I feel like we just started. I guess it's been 7 weeks already.
It has.
So 7 episodes in. Well, first of all, before we go, where are you going next and what guests do you have lined up or what exciting things you have coming? What's been your favorite one so far?
Oh my goodness. So many questions all at once. What's the question? What's been my favorite so far? Oh my goodness. I have to say the first interview episode that dropped with Monique, that was a really, I love just how organic that was and just how our connection was and the topic that we shared about finding the power, harnessing the power of your voice. So that was really, and just the whole Potapalooza experience, getting to know and meeting people that I would never have met in my everyday life. So I love the opportunity to get to know other people and their stories. I think the other part that I've really enjoyed, the first 5 episodes are all solo episodes, and just the arc that really lays the foundation for what I want the foundation of the podcast to be about. So where I'm going with that is there'll be some more interview episodes. Some will be snippets from the Potapalooza interviews that haven't been aired yet, that'll be woven together in a way that feeds into the theme of Magic in the Muck. Mm-hmm. And there'll be more solo episodes. I think my set right now, as I feel into it, it'll be taking your listeners on a journey through going through the soul compass, going through the different archetypal directions of the East for dreaming and vision, and what are the hopes and dreams. I like taking people through a process, I think, and letting go, and what does that mean to let go, and what does it mean to be still and to really listen and live in alignment with our soul. So that I think I'll bring on guests. I will be bringing on guests to embody all that. So people who work with the body, or people who've had stories of going through, I don't even know. They're just kind of exciting and scary and seeing how it evolves.
Sounds awesome. I love your idea of bringing the listeners on a journey with you. And also, like, it kind of feels like they're coming to a session, or they're coming to, like, they're learning something and they're, hearing interviews and integrating it afterwards. And it's like it's an experience, really.
Yeah.
It's not just a listen, So, listeners, maybe you don't want to be driving when you're listening to Jennifer's podcast. Yeah. No, but mobile can then. I know it happened to me one time when I had to pull over when I was listening to a podcast, or write down the email address.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because sometimes I do take the listener through. I said, wherever you are right now, put your hand over your heart, or if it fits for you, close your eyes. But yeah, you don't want to be driving when you're doing that.
Driving.
Yeah. So I do like to leave listeners with reflection questions or things to serve those who do want to take it a little deeper and journal. And they don't have to share it on social media, but just for themselves. For me, it's however people want to journey with the podcast is wonderful. And yes, there's a part of me that I would love to know and it's okay. It's okay. I can let it go. But, it is nice.
If you want to share, let me know.
Yeah. Well, and to hear ideas too, if there is something that the listener would like to hear more about or wants more of on the show, I'm absolutely open to hearing that as well. So
yeah, I love it. Right. And I wish we could hear a little bit more feedback from the listeners. So the best way to give us feedback is through the reviews or reaching out or joining whenever Jennifer's talking about on the podcast. Looks like her Soul Compass might be coming up soon. So all those kinds of things. And you may have heard Jennifer talk about Potapalooza. And Potapalooza is this crazy event that all stemmed from a podcast interview, actually. My friend Kimberly Crow and I, we had a podcast interview. I invited her on my show. And that was several years ago. And we hit it off on the show. And we went on to create this event where podcasters get together with podcast guests as our VIPs. And they get to be interviewed on up to 5 podcasts in one single day, online, virtually. It is insane. Last Potapalooza that Jennifer participated in, it was like 267 interviews were conducted that day.
Wow.
Right? Over a 10-hour period. It was crazy. And on the main stage, there's speakers and all sorts of fun things happening. So if you hadn't heard about Potapalooza, that's what that's all about. And that's where some of your interviews have come from.
It is
a quick way to get a podcaster started with getting lots of interviews.
It totally is. And I have to say, I am still blown away at how flawless. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it's crazy for you guys in the background, but how all of it works and how all of it works somewhat seamlessly, it seems, is amazing.
Well, I'm very happy to hear it seems seamless.
I'm sure it's not.
Well, lucky for me, we have 2 amazing ladies that run that whole auditorium in the background. Well, I can be on the main stage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, had fun, and I am so excited to hear more about your show. We're going to bring you back on here in another few months once we get rolling some more to hear some more about the progress of your show. And if you're tuning in today and you haven't listened to Jennifer's show, make sure you go have a listen. Magic in the Muck. It is on our podcast network. It is doing well. We're at 7 episodes already, which is so awesome. And I'm so excited for Jennifer's journey she takes her listeners on. I'm so excited for you to go and listen to it because it's really powerful and it will transform you if you go have a listen. So Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today. Any last words for our listeners that are thinking about, listening into the show?
No last words, just see, I'm such a nonverbal person. And so for those who aren't watching, I'm just holding my hands. I'm holding you all. I'm holding you all just with love and appreciation and gratitude wherever you're at on your journey. And I would love to connect somehow, whatever that looks like for you.
I think you were holding space, and I think we could feel that through the airwaves. You holding space comes through your presence.
That's what I do.
You're amazing. Well, Jennifer, we are so honored to have your show on the High Vibe Leaders Podcast Network. So awesome, and can't wait to see where this journey takes us. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll bring you back on in another few months and check in and see how it's going.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, guys, go have a listen to Jennifer's show. Report back to her. Tell her how much you loved it. Report back to me. Tell me how much you loved it too. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for tuning in to the High Vibe Podcast Network, where you get to meet the voices shaping the new earth. Want to launch your own high vibe show, or do you want to grab all the gifts from our podcast house? Head on over to highvibepodcastnetwork.com. Grab your gifts from each of the hosts and join our movement. Until next time, stay visible, stay soul aligned, and keep raising the vibe.